Hello lovely people and welcome to what may be a rather intriguing video to watch in that I'm not feeling in tip-top shape. I may look alright due to the wonder that is makeup. Also you may hear some noises because there's an 8-month-old baby in the room. He does have a basket of toys, but he's decided that this is a conversational time right now. This video has been made in partnership with NHS professionals who place highly skilled temporary workers in NHS trusts. Dysautonomia. What be it? What is that? Let's talk. I unfortunately can tell you from first-hand experience exactly what it is. I wish I couldn't, but I can. Obviously, please just bear in mind, I am just one person who has experienced this, and everyone who suffers from it has experienced this in different ways. Also, I'm in no way a medical professional. I'm just, sadly, someone with a lot of life experience. You may be hearing the term a lot at the moment because it's been linked to long COVID. Now, this is people who have had COVID and are really struggling to recover and have been diagnosed with something very similar. So I've had this my whole life because I have a condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I know, what a word. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But I get it because I have a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Exactly, Rupert, exactly. And that's what's getting me down today because yesterday I stood in the cold for a little bit for a video that's going to be on my Instagram, potentially by the time you see this video, which, oh my goodness, you're gonna love. I played football. Yeah, me, I know. And now all of my joints hurt. Everything hurts, but I don't feel like my organs can cope. But on with the video. So, what is dysautonomia? Dysautonomia is a general term for a group of disorders that share a common problem. Autonomic nervous system that doesn't function as it should, which is kind of underplaying it, to be honest. So the autonomic nervous system, if you are a little bit confused, understandable, is the part of the nervous system that controls the involuntary body functions. So these are kind of things your body does that you don't consciously control. If you've ever seen like James Bond in a movie control his heart rate, yeah, no, that's not. Someone in the comments is going to be like, yes, you can. That's an autonomic nervous function because it's an involuntary thing. Your body does it for you. Your body breathes for you. You don't have to consciously tell your body to breathe. Your body controls your heart rate. You don't have to tell it to do that. Your blood pressure, not on you. Digestion. Do you eat food and then specifically say to your body, digest it? Skin temperature. Your body does that for you. Bladder function. Your body tells you when to pee, not the other way around. And there are many, many other functions that you just let your body do for you. Unfortunately, when the autonomic nervous system doesn't work the way it should, it can then cause a whole host of problems, as you can imagine. If your heart and blood pressure aren't working the way that they should, think about it now. One of my main issues is that when I stand up, my blood pressure should increase in order to get my blood pumping around my body just to compensate for the change. However, yeah, it doesn't do that. It doesn't think these things through. Breathing trouble, going up and down stairs. Apparently, my body doesn't think these things through, so it doesn't change the amount that I need to breathe when I'm going up and down stairs, and I still breathe quite shallowly. Dysautonomia happens when your nerves in your autonomic nervous system don't communicate as they should. It just doesn't send the messages, receive the messages, or maybe the message isn't clear. So you then experience a variety of symptoms and follow-on medical conditions. Some of the conditions caused by primary dysautonomia include neurocardiogenic syncope. NCS is the most common form of dysautonomia. It can cause fainting spells that happen once or twice in your lifetime, or multiple times every day. NCS is also called situational syncope or vasovagal syncope. Then we've got my fave, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Not my fave, totally kidding, don't need it. This is a disorder which causes problems with circulation and blood flow. So POTS can cause your heart to beat too fast when you stand up. It can lead to fainting, chest pain, and shortness of breath. It also gives me an irregular heartbeat, which I do not approve of. And massive migraines because it sends my blood pressure through the roof. Then we have familial dysautonomia. So people inherit this type of dysautonomia from their genetic relative. It can cause decreased pain sensitivity, lack of eye tears, and trouble regulating body temperature. It's more likely to affect Jewish people of Eastern European heritage, so Ashkenazi Jewish heritage. Then we have multiple system atrophy, MSA, a life-threatening form of dysautonomia. Multiple system atrophy develops in people over 40 years old and can lead to heart rate issues, low blood pressure, erectile dysfunction, and a loss of bladder control. And finally, pure autonomic failure. People with this form of dysautonomia experience a fall in blood pressure upon standing and have symptoms including dizziness, fainting, visual problems, chest pain, and tiredness. Symptoms are sometimes relieved by lying down or sitting. So let's talk a little bit about NHS professionals. Now, as you know, I'm a huge fan of the NHS. Wouldn't be alive without them, so it would be weird if I wasn't a fan. But I also have a lot of people in my family who work with the NHS. Now, for my son, both aunts and his uncle are doctors working in the NHS. One of his grandfathers was a doctor in the NHS. His grandmother was a nurse in the NHS. Your great-grandfather was a surgeon in the NHS. Your great-grandmother was a nurse in the NHS. And your mother is a dentist in the NHS. So I'd love to give a special thanks to NHS professionals for partnering with me on this video. I've been in and out of hospital my whole life, and the NHS have been there for me in so many ways. I am forever grateful to the healthcare system we have in this country. NHS Professionals is owned by the Department of Health and Social Care, and they reinvest any surplus they make directly back into the NHS. NHS Professionals both help trusts by putting short-term and long-term temporary workers in positions that they really need, and help medical professionals by avoiding burnout by allowing them to work flexibly. They give bank members the control to book shifts at a time that suits them for a healthy work-life balance, and provides the opportunity to earn paid annual leave so members can enjoy more free time. NHS professionals remain dedicated to recognising their members' contributions and their desire to feel part of a community. Campaign strives to highlight NHS professionals are there for them at every stage of their journey and to promote exciting new initiatives available to their members. Other aspects include giving early career and student nurses access to shifts and locations, and initiatives like school hour shifts and a flex pool where people can split or share shifts to fill gaps. Who can get dysautonomia? So it's actually relatively common. Worldwide, it affects more than 70 million people, and it can be present at birth or appear gradually or suddenly at any age. Dysautonomia can be mild to serious in severity, and it affects women and men equally. It can actually occur as its own disorder without the presence of other diseases, which is called primary dysautonomia, and can occur as a condition of another disease called secondary dysautonomia, which is my thing. The main diseases in which secondary dysautonomia can occur include diabetes, Parkinson's disease, MS, lupus, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, HIV and Lyme disease, and COVID. So let's talk symptoms. Symptoms can vary from patient to patient, obviously, and symptoms can be present for some of the time, kind of go away, return for any time. Basically, you can get bad periods and good periods. Because you're in a bad patch right now doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna remain this way. Symptoms can also be made much worse by physical or emotional stress, meaning that if you're perfectly calm, they might not be there. Then again, they might be. Every single person has their own different body. Some symptoms may be mild in some patients, and in others may interfere constantly with daily life. A common symptom of dysautonomia is orthostatic intolerance, which means that you can't stand up for long without feeling faint or dizzy. Other signs and symptoms of dysautonomia you may experience include blood pressure, breathing, digestion, heart rate, kidney function, pupil dilation, and constriction in the eyes. You did not want me to say sexual function. And body and skin temperature control. Hi, I'm back. I've had lunch. There's no longer a baby in the room. Currently in more pain than I was before. Sorry if I'm slower. You know, actually the worst thing, symptom-wise, that we haven't really talked about is just the feeling of a loss of control. I hate that. Where you just kind of get a bit loopy. How do I describe this? So, for instance, there I am cleaning my teeth in the bathroom, and I have to get from brushing my teeth at the sink to my bed. Dun dun dun. It's all of, I don't know, 6 meters. Can I do it though? No. On a bad day, I cannot walk in a straight line. Absolutely not. I can't even stand upright. By the end of the day, I'm all over the place. Absolutely horrendous. I'm also, for some reason, continually hitting my head on the wall whilst brushing my teeth. Brushing my teeth is an action that sends my head backwards. Would I like to be able to brush my teeth without smacking my head on a wall? I really would. So yes, the feeling of a loss of control is probably a symptom that is the worst, but they don't write down. Noise and light sensitivity. Much like when you have a migraine, any kind of noise, light, those things are really going to be throwing you off because your body doesn't know how to deal with them in the way that it kind of normally would. Then we've got obviously the shortness of breath, chest pain and discomfort, vertigo, temperature, ongoing tiredness. Every single medical condition has tiredness. Fatigue is just a general symptom of everything. Blood pressure affects a lot of things in your body, including, of course, your digestion. Now, if your blood pressure is all wrong, we're going to get a lot of issues when it comes to things like nausea and vomiting, because your body's going, what on earth? What the frick? This is very wrong. We need to get out of here ASAP. You're dying. You're not. You're not. Then, of course, we've got heart palpitations. I always remember a doctor describing to me, I was fine, it was just that I could feel my heart beating. And I was like, well, that doesn't feel fine to me. Generally, I can't, so make it stop. And she was like, you want me to make your heart stop? And I was like, sure, yeah, if it stops this feeling. And she was like, I don't think you mean that. And I was like, no, I don't. I feel like this is all over the place. Brain fog, forgetfulness, and the inability to focus. It's me right now, to be honest. Fainting, loss of consciousness. You might sweat more or less. That was fun. I had like a few years where I just didn't sweat. It was a bit random. I just didn't sweat at all. Didn't matter where I went, however hot it was in that country, however hot it got here, how much exercise I did. Not a lot of exercise, let's be honest. But yeah, didn't sweat. Sleeping problems, migraines, frequent headaches, dehydration, frequent urination. And of course, a major one, exercise intolerance, which means that your heart rate doesn't adjust to your change in activity level. Remember when I was talking about going up and down stairs, and it takes my heart 3 flights to be like, oh, that's what you're doing. I get it. But I've only got 2 flights of stairs in my house. So let's get to the key point, the actual important bits that you're really here for. What helps? So certain conditions and events can bring on the symptoms of dysautonomia. Basically, this is stuff you shouldn't do. I know, I'm so sorry that I have to write you a list of things not to do if you have this. Kind of sucks. But also, good to know. Alcohol consumption. I don't drink alcohol, so I drink a ridiculous amount of fluids. How much fluid do I probably drink in a day? I don't know, like 4 litres? Worth of liquid, probably. And if I don't, it's really bad. This dysautonomia is much worse. Stress makes it much worse. I'm iffy on, they say that tight clothing makes it much worse, but I find that tight clothing actually helps, but that's just me, might not be you, but there we go. And then hot environments. There needs to be a good level of heat. For me, if it's too cold, then absolutely I'm set off. If it's boiling hot, absolutely I'm set off. But I do need to be warm. Oh God, it hurts. But what helps? Right, well, sadly there is no cure for the condition, but there are things you can do to manage it. So here are some things that help me, but I mean, again, seek help from your GP or medical professional. Obviously we've talked about fluid already. If you're not a big water fan, then, you know, add in some 0 sugar squash. Another thing you can do is add extra salt into your diet. So sometimes if I wake up in the morning with a particularly bad attack, I just crave salty things. Absolutely need a packet of crisps, which doesn't sound very appealing, and to be honest, isn't that appealing at that time of day. So if you have an extra 3 to 5 grams of salt per day, it sort of helps you keep a normal fluid volume in your blood vessels, which in turn helps you to maintain a normal blood pressure. Fun fact. Some people don't like having extra pillows in bed, but I find the more the merrier. So if you sleep with your head raised slightly when in bed, it then benefits your body. Another trick for when you're lying in bed is, often you will find that if you're getting from a lying down to a sitting up to a standing position, whoomp, you'll find you're on the floor. The first thing that you should do is get your body moving. So clench and release all of your limbs. Get them, ow, ruddy elbow. And that way it kind of helps to get your blood pumping, your body moving, regulates your blood pressure a bit before you then sit up, before you stand up, and you'll find that it's just much, much easier than that. Let's stand up and Other things that are important include eating a healthy diet, yet make sure that you are having salt in it. As I said, get plenty of sleep and keep your blood sugar within normal limits. Oh, always listen to what your body is telling you it needs. If it's telling you to take breaks from work or school, it's telling you it needs to rest, if it's telling you that it needs something sugary or salty, or to sit down or lie down, or to stick your feet up in the air, you do it. Don't worry about any looks that you may potentially get. Who the hell cares? And look after yourself. Another tip that I found myself is don't take a shower. Absolutely not. Showers, terrible. I mean, all of that blood is going to pool at your feet. There goes your head. Again, she speaks from experience. Instead, baths are the way. Stepping into a hot bath. Now that is also a recipe for disaster. So what do? You fill the bath slightly, I'm going to say 3 inches, with warm-ish water. Then you get into the bath and then you continue to run it. Now this will mean that your body will be able to warm up with the water, so you're not having too much of a shock. You're welcome. It's a great tip. No one can know for sure what your life will look like living with dysautonomia. Symptoms can vary from person to person, and the severity of the condition varies as well. So just because you've been diagnosed with this doesn't mean that your life is suddenly going to be incredibly, wildly awful, okay? It's still your life, and it's still going to be wonderful. Because there are a lot of variables, it's really important to find a healthcare provider that you're comfortable with and who's knowledgeable in dysautonomia. You may want to start a health diary to kind of share with your doctor, but mainly just for you so that you can get a handle on what's happening to you, because like I said, the worst symptom is just that feeling of the loss of control. And knowing what triggers you, what sort of sets things off, knowing how to avoid them, is the best thing. It's good to record things like symptoms, events that possibly triggered your symptoms, and how you're feeling emotionally. A lot of what you're feeling may be physical, but it's really important that we don't disregard the emotional changes that are happening as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something, whether that's learning about dysautonomia because it's just something you're interested in, or learning more about yourself and how to treat your own symptoms. If you're a medical or non-medical clinical professional, please consider learning more about a career within the NHS. You can click the link in the description to read more about NHS professionals and to sign up for shifts. It's a great cause, and please do let me know if any of you sign up for NHS professionals, because I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah! Bye!